All right, so we got our replacement Frankford Arsenal intellidropper. Boxes, a little different. So I think it's a 2.0 situation. So hopefully they've sorted out whatever issues were kind of plaguing the original. Hopefully that's sorted out now. I don't know for sure. So I'm going to put it together, get it hooked up, calibrate it. I only need that. I only need that. I do need that. I don't really have a ton to load, but I want to, just because I want to do something down here, I'm going to, looks like it's the same power adapter, so I'll just leave this one over here. And it's kind of nice because it comes with a 240 volt adapter, so if you're in, Europe, I think that's an EU adapter. But that's for whatever they run on, 220 or 240 or whatever. So set this there. Yeah, basically this thing's stupid easy. And I've already got the calibration weights. This is a little thing to do your makeup. So since I'm pulling this out of the box, I guess I can do like I don't really do the unboxing stuff, but it like this thing just kind of sits in there. It sits pretty snug. This is like, so if you got a bunch of powder in here, this is the how to get the excess out. So you can kind of see the little hole right there, and then it just turns and closes it off. That's all there is to that. This is where your weights are supposed to sit, and then your little makeup brush is supposed to sit there, I guess. The other one didn't come with that pre-installed. Yeah, and it's got a little bubble level right there. Well, pretty straightforward, right? And then that's where it gets plugged in. See how this bad boy goes. And then you kind of got to level it sometimes. My table's pretty good. That one's just a little. So let me get this guy leveled up. Gotta go the right way with it here. There we go. And just hit your corners, So anyway, so there's that. The calibration on this is really quite easy. Let's do this. Oh shit. One didn't work, did it? Let's try that. Yeah, there we go. So it comes with 250-gram calibration weights. So you hit cal. I mean, there's a little bit of different. It looks a little different. You hit cal. It'll call for your 50, first 50. Now it's calling for 100. I stack them. And it can't touch that stem back there. And then you let it sit, it'll go stable. And then it'll say pass. Pass. There we go. So theoretically, that's all good. And those are where those live. So that's... Damn, that thing's... Whoop, shit, sorry. That's where we're at there. Okay, so that's all there is to that. So theoretically, we're all good. You can run it through a powder calibration. So, and I like my old RCBS. I don't know why. I just prefer it. So we'll crack this dude. I don't know how many we'll do, but we'll put this down in here. just where it, you know, it's covered up. We're not gonna do a ton, and then we 0, and then it'll say stable, stable, and then we'll hit powder cow. And there she comes. So it'll go through the motions and figure itself out where it needs to go. That's pretty crooked, isn't it? Where it needs to go. I guess it's good. I didn't hear a beep, but I can't hear shit either. And I talk a lot. So we're just going to dump that down in there. Alright, so let's 0 him out. We'll just hit 20. And then okay, well, maybe it wasn't done with the powder calibration. Let's do a powder cal again. Maybe I rushed it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just load up. So the load on this is 48 grains of 2520 for the 150 TTSX on a 308, loaded to 2.74. Yeah, it wasn't done. So hopefully it'll kind of do its thing here. So I'm assuming everybody saw Charlie Kirk got murdered, got assassinated, I guess you'd call it. That's a damn shame. He's a young dude. I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to, you know, what he said. I know he was pretty conservative and stuff, but okay, so we're at 6. It spit out 16 grains on that calibration. I did hear a beep that time, and it didn't yell at me when I pulled that off. So. Zeroed again. And so far, every time it's been 0.2 of a grain off. Okay, so we're going to punch in, what was it, 48, right? 48 grains. 48 grains. There she goes. Well, maybe. So, and this is the group that 48 grains on that 150 spits out of that Tika. Quite good. That's at 150 yards too. Yeah, it's damn good. I mean, you're talking like half minute thereabouts, give or take. Actually, we can measure it. So outside to outside is, you know, call it 1.1, maybe a little less. It's a little less than 1.1. And then you typically, it's Grant's 3-round group, but you take, it's a 30 cal, so you take 0.308 away from that, and it's a very rudimentary way to measure it. So you go to the inside edge of one side to the outside edge of the other. So yeah, it's 3/4 minute or 3/4 of an inch. If you do it like that, but then you take that and you multiply it by divided by 150, and that'll give you your what your actual minute of angle is as far as the gross measurement. So this thing's taking forever, man. Might be that ball powder. It is taking a while. Oh man, let's check it. Let's check it just to see where it's at. So it's saying we're good. So let's double check him. So on this scale, it was 48 coming out of that one, 47.9 coming out of that one. That's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good. No shit. I'm not done. Okay. Shut up. So we'll just load a few of these just to kind of run this thing through its paces. You know. So I don't even really need that. So you just hit play again. And once you got your target weight, you just hit play. And then what I'll do is, because I've got it set up on auto, I'll pull this away, dump it, put it back on, and as soon as it senses, it's got a beep though. So as soon as it beeps at me, and this is taking a minute, but probably because of that ball powder, and this is, in my opinion, the best all-around powder for 308s. I've got 4 308s. It'll run semi-autos like your AR-10s and whatnot. And it just, like, this load just shoots out of everything, because I've got a few 308s, and I'd say like 308's hard to beat. Real efficient cartridge. You're not shooting any barrels out, you know, unless you're really heating them up. You're gonna get, 3,000 rounds out of a barrel. Most people are never going to shoot 3,000 rounds in their life. And these Tikkas are good rifles. I mean, they're pretty hard to sneeze at. Now, they used to be the best bargain out there. They are not anymore. Are they still good? Yeah, but they're not like that crazy bargain that they used to be. For a while, you could get them from Euro Optic, which is where I got them e-bikes. So it slowed down at 47.5, and then it kicked out. It says there it goes, beeped at 48. So watch this here. So let's see if this one's the same as the other one. We tap him in. There he goes. Pretty hard to argue with. I mean, like, that's like a lazy man's reloading right there. It's, I've got a Dillon 550 in a box somewhere. And, I could crank it out and set it. I've never set it up. I've had it for about 10 or 12 years. Never even I opened the box and then put it back. And one day I'll set it up, but this is just the way I like doing stuff. But yeah. But this 308 load, it's 150 grain. Out of this 22-inch barrel, it's doing about 29.40. The fastest that I could get those 130 TTSXs out of this gun was like just a shade over $3,000, like 30 or something. And the ballistic coefficient is nowhere near as good as that 150. Like, I love a 270. Like, 270, definitely one of my favorites. But I love, I like all rifles and stuff for the most part. I don't like a Creedmoor though. I got one. I don't care for it. I think 260 is way better. I know it is. But anyway, you can. So if you're running 130 grain out of a 270, like my 130 grain load, and I've killed quite a bit of stuff with it. It look at that, unbelievable. So far, so good. But that other one went 30 rounds. I loaded 30 rounds at 260, and then it just decided it was done. Alright. So, but I'm getting like 3,100 in all of my 270s with a 130 nozzler E-tip, and that's pretty much max charge or really close to it. And then you got a 308 running at 130. Now, granted, the sectional density, which is the linear density of the bullet, is greater in your 6.5s and your 270s and your 284s. The fatter the bullet is, the more mass it takes up in circumference. The circumference of that round. So, like when you're packing in more weight into a longer, skinnier object, the density is greater. So the linear density is greater. So that's called sectional density, which drives penetration. And so the sectional density in a 270 and all those other ones are better than a 308 weight to weight, grain to grain. But I don't know if there's enough difference, especially in those monolithics. I really don't think it matters. You get an increased ballistic coefficient on those longer, skinnier bullets for sure. But all in all, I mean, the 308's running a 130 at a touch over 3,000 with 10 grains less powder, relatively similar BC, granted at 270, and 7 mil is going to be a little bit better, but not much, but a little bit. But that 150 is just absolutely outclassing the 130, and it doesn't matter whether it's in 270, 280 AI, or not a 280 AI, 280. And then my other argument, let's see here, well, that was number 4. There she goes. My other argument for 308 is .6s. A lot of people love .6s, and I do too. I don't have that much love for them anymore. Never really was head over heels for them. I've got 2, and one's a Tikka. It shoots pretty good, but until you get into that 165 above 165s, your 165s and 168s, until you get into that 175 range, 180, you really can't get a 30-06 to just blatantly outperform a 308 if it's apples and apples. It's only when you get to those 175s, 180s, 200s, that extra 10 grains of powder is actually doing you a little bit of good, actually quite a lot of good. But for some reason, like if you're in that 130, 150, 155, 165, 168 type stuff, 308 is going to run so close. I mean, yes, the 30-06 is going to barely outrun it, but I've done a ton of load development on them, and I've got this super light Tikka. The .6 I've shot the most that I've got is a Tikka, so they're really close to be. Like barrel lengths are the same manufacturer, all that stuff, and that 30-06 just doesn't have enough oomph on top of the 308 to justify that extra powder and stuff for a reloader for sure. Unless you're shooting 180s, then it's a different ball game. So we'll just keep going with this. So like my 168, actually I think I got it here. Let's do a couple more and then I'll turn it off because we're already at 19 minutes. Yeah, so there's there's that. Let's see here. Okay, so I think I've got 168, quite a bit of one. Yeah, here we go. Here's a bunch of 168 stuff. Okay, so we'll ignore that. That'll be the last one we do. So the Tika. So the 168 TTSX, and then for the 308. And these are all done with the magneto speed. So it's pretty decent chrono. So my fastest speed that I was able to achieve with the 168 out of the 308 looks to be 27. Looks like 2781. That's with CFE 223, 48.5 grains. But I don't like CFE 223. It's insanely temperature sensitive. So let's just say 2781, 2757, and then I've got some 2750s and 2762s. So quite a lot. I've got CFE 223, shooters will match, Varget 4064. So I've got quite a few readings in here. So let's take about the average. Let's just say 2760. That's for the 308 168 TTSX. 2760. All right. With a maximum of 2781. And my lowest speed on here was 2675. Varget 45.5 grains, 2675, 46 grains, 2710. Okay, so move over here. And this is just my argument because, like obviously I've seen it a lot. All right, so my fastest 30-06 load was let's see here, about 2825. I've got a 2825. I've got a 2850 with 57 grains of IMR 4350. I got a 2800. There's a lot of high 27s in here, like 2775, 2768, 2705, 2775, 2775. Yeah, 50.2 grains was my load that just seemed to do really well at 4064, and that was 2775, and I had several of those they just landed right on top of 2775. But there were a couple 2850s, but sticky bolt. So we went from 2760 and to maybe like 28. So you got 40 feet per second, maybe 50, if you're going to average everything together, you might get 50. So that 10 grains of powder is 50 feet per second, which might be enough for some people. It's not for me. So, whatever. I mean, that's legit data. It's my stuff off of magneto speed. I do kind of want to get one of those new Garmin's or the Athlon, so you don't have stuff, because there's an argument to be made, with the one, the magneto speed strapping to the muzzle of your barrel, might throw your harmonics off. I don't, I think it probably would. I never noticed an enormous difference, but I don't know, I think any variable that you can eliminate from the equation is better than just saying screw it, you know. Let's do this last one. Then we'll put these guys together. It's 6 more rounds. I'll shoot some. Let's see here. So this thing seems to be working okay. So let's see here. While I'm thinking about it though, I wonder if this thing might work pretty well for. Yeah, I mean, it seems to work pretty good. Probably not the best way to do it, but alright, just gonna close this back up. I didn't get all of it out of there, but I got most of it. I just really don't want to waste this powder. Shit, probably wasn't the best thing in the world. 5. It didn't spill that much. This is super exciting for you guys. That really wasn't the best course of action on that. So now I didn't spill that much. Spill a little bit, not that much. But once it hits the table, I call it gone. So it's not the best way to do this. Maybe, you know what? That's what that mascara brush is for. I'm gonna put it. Shit. I'm gonna do with it. That's stupid. Well, I'll deal with it later. I'll be alright. So, anyway, that's the intellidropper. This one seems to work pretty alright. Only time will tell. Hopefully it survives a little better than the other one. Bullets. 168s, 150s. So we'll get these guys loaded up. It looks pretty light out, so I might actually get to do a little bit of shooting. They got backed out. This is an old die. We'll have to run that whole die body in. I don't think it's going to be enough. So if you're going to get into reloading, or if you do reload, and you have cheap-ass calipers, get good ones. They work, and cheap ones work, but man, good calipers make a world of difference. Screw that case up. So 285. So it's 2740. Still 285. Yeah. Felt weird. So we're at 2. There we go. That's better. Okay, that feels way better. Great if I would have set my die up first. So 274. 2825. Behaving weird. Still 2825. Something is not right with it. I pulled the stem out. I wonder if I didn't get it lined up again. Huh. There we go. 2010. Huh. Oh, it's on those damn gas rings. All right. 2.740, which means a long ways to go. And that's the only pain in the butt about these barns is they are finicky when it comes to jump. Like you can have an amazing load just sitting there and it won't shoot for shit because you don't, like, you could have the perfect powder charge and everything and the perfect bullet combination, but it won't shoot for squat because of your seam depth is off, you know. So it's kind of a pain. 2741. I shall. Oh shit! What was that? Oh yeah, neck tension was a little tight. That's what that was. A little bit of copper sitting there, so that one may not shoot for shit. So back it off a little bit. And then that felt way better. So I backed him off. Rechecking. So I just don't want to. I mean, these Lee dies, they're good, but when you get a micrometer die, it's like no comparison. And if you shoot a lot of one cartridge, like if you shoot a lot of 223 or 308 or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you shoot a lot of one cartridge, you really need to have that micrometer die. And by micrometer die, I mean, let's see here. It's my 7 PRC stuff. So I got the Forster on my 260 and my 7 PRC. So it's got a micrometer built into it. And man, those are good. They're expensive, but they're good. I think that die set was like $300 or something. Something like that. But it's worth it. You know, as expensive as this shit is. You know. But honestly, like if you don't shoot that much, I wouldn't even get into reloading. Oh, see, overdriven. So I gotta mark this dude. So this will be the first one I shoot. I had a marker sitting here. I had a bunch of trash in my pocket. So I'll sit that one there and I'll mess with it. So I had a Sharpie sitting there. Because they're so finicky when you overdrive one like that. Basically, what it was is, it was a short piece of brass. So, because it indexes on the case, you know. So, oh shit, that's getting a bit of a crimp on there. Man, that one's short too. So we'll shoot those first. Those are going to be, pressure on those is going to be a bit much. So it's getting a bit of a roll crimp on there, so we'll back him off a little bit. That'll change your neck tension. So, now we're back to where we were. Now there's nothing that says that it's not, that gun won't shoot those. because they're driven a little bit more, because barns do tend to like a little bit of a jump. But I just know that this works, and so I want to keep it as consistent as possible. But you know, in all reality, I need to invest in more micrometer dies, especially for 308 and 223, because I shoot a lot of that. But anyway, so that's it. That's all I'm going to do. Intellidropper seems to be working okay. I'll get it cleaned up, find my little mascara brush or whatever, and we'll go from there. Thanks.